Most people don't have six packs. Actually takes a really low body weight to have a six pack, like low body fat percentage, so unless your dude's like a bodybuilder, probably not gonna have a six pack. The Adonis muscle, which is a lot of people miss, the Adonis belt. It's sort of this fold of muscle that sits above the hips. The thigh muscles are all shaped like teardrops. Two downward facing teardrops and an upward facing one when you're looking at it from front. The shin bone tends to stand out somewhat, and then you have the muscles on either side. Pectorals under the breasts, women have them too. I will admit, I do not know as much about anatomy, about musculature as I should, so this is very rough, and you might want to look at Pose Maniacs if you want to see more realistic muscles. I will link that. I'm just telling you to Google it because I don't remember the link. I haven't used it in a long time. Oh, and the back muscles, which really are shaped like a cape, pretty much. I'll save that one as a PSD. I will be making all of these files available for you guys after the class. Thank you, Flying Fire. PoseManiacs.com, who would have thought? Okay, I'm going to take a quick break to get more water. You guys think about if you have any questions. I'm back, and I apologize, I'm eating for a second here. Gotta keep my strength up and all. Yes, mouth noises. Okay, so any questions? Yeah, I know you don't have any, Socrates. You're a cat. You have to shake your head at me. Smart ass. Guys, if you don't have questions, just say no so that I know that you're not, like, typing something. So, questions? Yes, no? Oh, I'm way scrolled up. That's my problem. Ha ha ha. I win. Okay. Hands and paws. I'm not going to bother with feet because I assume we're all furries here. Excuse me. Just apologize for that. Okay, so a hand is basically an oval cut in half with a thing on the side. Rough thumb shape. Fingers are not all the same length, that is important to remember. The thumb does this neat archy thing when you spread the fingers. I tend to draw fingers a little short because I'm used to drawing furry paws, which I tend to give them shorter fingers to make a more paw-like look. An important thing to note, the spaces between the fingers are U-shaped, not V-shaped. Knuckles are important and often show up. Fist is a box. With the thumb underneath. If someone is punching somebody, their thumb will be on the outside, otherwise their thumb will break. This is an important thing to remember for self-defense as well. Fingers have 3 joints. Yeah. And those joints technically don't all fall in the exact same place. But an arc is generally good enough to describe it. And yes, Flycar's right, the thumb should be more like this length. Not that scary long thumb after the first time. Best thing for hands is just to practice drawing them in lots of different positions. You'll probably find you have a few positions that, this is a very gay hand, you'll probably find a lot of positions that you're more familiar with, that work better for you. It's okay to use sort of a fallback of a mental library of what works well for your style, but make sure you practice outside of your comfort range when you can. You'll notice I tend to draw this a lot. And what else do I draw? I don't know, it's mostly this one. That's my big fallback that I try not to draw all the time but end up doing anyway. And that's what practicing about, is building up your mental library. of references so that you don't have to reference every single little thing while you're working. So if while you're practicing you reference things as much as possible, once you go to actually sit down and work, you'll have this mental image of what everything is supposed to look like. And you do want to reference some things even while you're working because, you know, it's important for it to have accuracy and not to fall back on your mental concept of what things are like. But I mean, when you're wanting to just knock out a quick sketch, it's good to have these memorized. And the muscles of the hand are basically shaped like this. So if you want to do a split paw pad, you probably want a pad here, and a pad there. But, you know, whatever works for you, don't stick to my... And there's no right way to draw furry. I usually go with this shape for pad. Sort of like a realistic cat's paw. I'm going to try to include the wrist pad as well. Because that's sort of an important feature of actual animal legs. I'm sure if you have a cat or a dog, you've noticed they have a little pad on the back of their leg, on the front leg. And you know, there's multiple ways you can do claws. You can do them coming out of the hand, like that, sort of a triangle shape. You can do them like a fingernail being on top of the hand. You can be lazy like I am and just draw them coming out of the center of the finger. Whatever works for you. Claws are curved, not straight. Generally, the more of a hunter an animal is, the more curved it is. So, like, you know, an eagle is going to be like this big ass giant claw. It's very curved. A dog is going to be like more like a nail. And a cat is going to be somewhere in between. You don't have to worry too much about the bones and muscles inside the hand. They don't usually show up. There's bones that sort of form this fan in line with the fingers that you'll occasionally see. You know, some of it showing up, but you know, for the purposes of furry cartooning, I'm going to simplify things a bit, so it's not very important. And there's words for all of them, but I don't generally remember them. Carpals or metacarpals or something. Yeah, any questions about hands? What about wrists? Wrists dip in more than a lot of people think they do. So, like, you know, your standard furry artist, if this is a hand, this is the worst hand ever, might draw it straight like that. But in reality, with another of the worst hands ever, it's going to be curved in a little before it goes back out to the forearm.